The spa confirmation at 11:50 p.m. Couples massage wasn't us. I'm not jealous of bodies, I'm jealous of arrangements. Bodies tell the truth if you stop staging them. Arrangements decide which truth gets to arrive. At 11:50 p.m., our shared inbox chimed with the bland kindness of a concierge and showed me a transaction that had nothing to do with sleep. Thank you for booking at El Argent Spa. Date, tonight. Time, 12:30 a.m. Service, couples massage, 60 minutes. Guest, Evan plus A.M. The initials were polite. They were not my name. Nate had texted at 10:42. Donors want a last round. Don't wait up. He's good with money when it pretends to be charm. He had kissed the air by my cheek before leaving, our administrative truce, and tugged the door shut with a gentle guilt he didn't want to shine a light on. At 7:05, I had filmed the coffee rising because ritual is cheaper than religion and shows up on time. I captioned it here. He reacted with the thumbs up he uses when he is already late for an hour that plans to rename itself. I set the laptop lid down without pushing it closed, as if the email under it could be smothered into decency. The apartment had the posture rooms get when they have rehearsed a story without you. The radiator breathed like an amateur choir. The hallway practiced being neutral. I boiled water because water doesn't audition. The kettle sang at midnight and I poured 2 mugs because habits believe they are the history you have left. At 1:58, the lock cleared its throat. Nate stepped in with his tie undone, his jacket over his shoulder, and his shoes hooked by 2 fingers like witnesses too tired to lie. He smelled like lime and decisions with good lighting. He saw the laptop lid half lifted, then the extra mug steaming by the sink, then me. His pupils did that small, brave dilation that turns time into a verb. "You're up," he said, as if etiquette had sent me a cease and desist. "The spa wrote," I said, "you and an initial at 12:30. The room had lavender oil and the expectation of tip." He put both palms flat on the table the way our therapist taught us when we wanted to give words somewhere to land. The gesture was either dignity or triage. "Which question do you want?" he asked. "Why or who?" "Why," I said, because Matt, my emergency adult, kicks me under imaginary tables when I start with names. If who is first, the night gets to write our minutes. "Because the part wasn't coming," Nate said. He looked at the patch of wall where the paint keeps wanting to retire without ceremony. "Because donors clapped in the wrong places and wanted to be forgiven with gin. Because Aiden said the air at El Argent lets the body remember how to be a noun. Because we had comp credits from the gala and he asked if I wanted to breathe somewhere that didn't remember us. Because I said yes before the hour had permission." "Aiden," I repeated, letting the vowels measure my blood. "He's the intimacy director who arrived last month with wrists that know how to move a kiss 2 inches and change a scene's theology. He ate noodles at our table and said eyes first like he was unbuttoning the room. He corrected the tilt of Nate's jaw with 2 fingers and a breath, and I filed away how gentle can also be useful. "Did you kiss him?" I asked, breaking Matt's superstition like a boy with a stick and a fence. "Yes," he said, and his mouth made the shape I collect for truth. "In the corridor by the locker room where the camera pretends to be art. Once small, honest. I stopped because I prefer being brave at home." "I hate how sane that sounds," I said, which is the sentence I use when mercy arrives early and my tone hasn't chosen its shoes. He didn't ask for absolution. He asked for verbs. He stepped around the table and paused until my mouth agreed to be a door. The first kiss was apology without a speech. The second slid his fingers under my shirt and my hand to the back of his neck, the spot he keeps for oaths and sleep. I won't map the rest for a platform that prefers virtue louder than accuracy. You can have breath that belonged to both of us, a belt resigning with grace, a palm pinning a wrist as proof we remembered to ask, heat used like a system that knows when to listen. In the morning, I took the email to Matt because panic insists on official stamps. He listened with his head tilted, the way a mechanic listens to a rattle you've learned to hum. I slid the laptop across and let him smirk at the line where politeness and discretion shake hands. "One question only," he said. "Ask why you did. If who keeps knocking later, make it the second noun, not the first verb. And when you go home, move the chair." The chair trick is ridiculous, effective theater. Put it in the middle of the kitchen and force your body to agree the scene has changed. Nate came in at 6 with a bag of pastries guilt thinks is a language and smiled at the chair like a man relieved to be caught kindly. He put his palms on the table again and waited. "Do we block him?" he asked. "Or do we teach the spa to pronounce our names?" "We go there," I said, "together." At 3 p.m., when cities pretend to be merciful, we walked through El Argent's lobby and taught the room a better caption. The woman at the desk had a cathedral's poise. She recognized Nate with the non-judgment of someone paid in mercy. "Welcome back," she said. The phrase fell between us like a dare. We booked a 4 p.m. slot because resentment needs a more generous partner than schedules. In the locker room, we were silent long enough to hear our own pettiness give up and sit down. The couple's suite was warm and boring on purpose. 2 tables, low light that believed in flattering nouns, a carafe of water that thought it was an apology. The therapists were professional and kind, and the hour did what hours do when you give them a job. Somewhere in the middle, when my face was arranged in the cradle and a stranger's hands were teaching my back the alphabet of gentleness, I realized I had been rehearsing a kind of punishment I didn't want to direct. I let the oil get away with its cliches. Nate's table squeaked once, the sound he makes when he tries not to make a sound. The room forgave us for not pretending to be better. We left without buying product. In the hallway, outside the door where a camera pretends it's decoration, Nate took my face in both hands and eyes first, like Aiden loves to say. The kiss we chose there was not brave, it was accurate. I felt a stranger walk past and not hurry. We were, for 10 seconds, a plausible rumor. Of course, the world prefers quizzes. That night the spa posted a carousel, bowls of moss, hands with perfect nails, a blurred reflection of 2 men in a corridor, height difference profile, the kind of silhouette you recognize if you've spent years practicing the verb. Someone tagged Nate. Then someone tagged me. I typed nothing. I turned the phone face down. I put the chair in the middle of the kitchen and sat until I could laugh. Nate handed me his phone without instructions. "Delete or archive?" he asked. "I don't want new grammar." "You don't need me to erase your verbs," I said. He put his forehead to mine like a paperweight on a better draft. A week later, Aiden appeared at the back of the house with his arms crossed like a man paying the bill he owes himself. After curtain, he found us in the lobby. He kissed my cheek the way Europeans do when they pretend manners are medicine and shook my hand like someone willing to recuse himself. "You two kiss truer when you remember who's breathing," he said. "Stand where you can hear each other." It was a note about the show. We let it be an instruction for the rest. He left for Barcelona to teach a seminar with a title that makes rooms think they're verbs. He sent a wrist with cufflinks photo captioned "Good light." Nate didn't reply. Neither did I. The spa kept its eucalyptus and its receipt emails. The city kept its camera-shaped windows. We kept our kitchen. 2 weeks later, the worst teenager in my thumb opened our email at 11 a.m. and found another politeness. "Your session at El Argent is confirmed. Date, tonight, time, midnight, guest, AM plus Evan." I stared until the font admitted it had been paid to be rude. The door cleared its throat at 2:09. Nate walked in like a man who believes honesty is faster than lies. I had already moved the chair. He smiled the tired smile of someone grateful to be caught twice. I sent it, he said. I made it cancel. He pulled his phone out and held up the void where the confirmation had been. I thought I didn't need to tell you the deletion. That's a sentence I hate as much as you do. Why schedule it, I asked. Why midnight? Because I wanted to see if the hour could let me be a better noun, he said. Because Aiden texted a link and I almost pressed it and then thought about our table and our chair and our stupid plant and the way you say here like a man who doesn't audition for belief anymore. He pushed the chair aside with his knee, came around the table and paused again, always that pause, his most decent habit. I met him halfway. We used our mouths as instruction, not as spectacle. The room did not applaud. It didn't need to. The next morning, he forwarded a PDF without trimming any map. Residency, 7 days, good windows, quiet rooms. I want to go without disappearing, he wrote. I'll send pages, not alibis. When I get back, ask me what I wrote before you ask me what I did. I taped 2 lines under the rubber orange magnet because props still save us when God is off shift. Addresses in the open. A good night here voice note every day. He added a third in his careful mess. If an I can't is coming, it happens where both of us are. Night 1, wind and a sentence I have decided to believe. Today the table forgave me. Night 3, nothing and my thumb tried to be a teenage detective. I moved the chair instead. He called at 8:12 with a voice that made the kettle think there might be a God. I almost kissed a window, he said. It didn't know your name. I closed the blinds. He returned with a suitcase that didn't slam and 2 pages he treated like living animals. They're not good, he said. They're mine, I said, and we performed our small religion. Paper, kettle, a room that knows it isn't a lobby. He slid his hands under my shirt from behind, slower than contrition, faster than nostalgia. Here, he said into the bend of my neck, which is the only word left that has never demanded witnesses. The spa keeps emailing. The city keeps offering rooms that want to pronounce us. If another night gives me the kind of permission nobody asked for, a confirmation at the hour good men pretend not to use, a corridor camera with ideas, a voice like an unlocked door, I hope I remember the handful of humiliating, useful acts that got us through this one. Put water on. Move the chair when words try to riot. Ask why before who. Hold the breath before contact and let it finish being the scene. Wait for the small throat clearing of the lock, like it's the first note in a song we can still tune to. We didn't get away with anything. We stayed. We are still staying. The plant in the window refused to die. The kettle kept its 7:05 appointment. Nate slid his hand into the frame and pressed his palm to mine without touching. Here, he said. Somewhere downtown, Eucalyptus volunteered to forgive strangers. In our kitchen, paper pretended to save men and sometimes succeeded.